guys and welcome back to the Admix channel. Today we have a special Q&A episode where we are joined by Caglar from Sir Studios. We're going to be asking them a bunch of awesome and cool crazy questions about their game, Ultimate Car Driving Simulator. So let's get started.
Okay, well, let me keep it short then. I'm Caglar. It is hard to pronounce. I run the marketing department at Sir Studios here in Istanbul. We are a rather young studio that develops mobile games in the midcore genre.
Okay, cool. So today we are going to be talking about your awesome game, Ultimate Car Driving Sim. I've been playing it a lot recently for the past few days or the past week.
Good to hear that.
It's actually a super fun game. It reminds me a lot of Need for Speed Underground and
Oh yeah,
Need for Speed
golden
Horizon.
old days.
Yeah, the old school days. So that's what's really roped me into playing in the game and spending a lot of hours into the game. But the first question I wanted to ask you guys is where did the game start? What was the idea that was behind Ultimate Car Driving Simulator?
Ultimate Car Driving Simulator actually has a history of around 7 years, I would say, because you need to understand that when we first see something, we have a tendency to think that's how it was created, that's how it came to life, like the time we see it, and we tend to overlook its past iterations. And the past iterations of this game came in the form of other games. All of our current titles and the past titles were first created by just one guy. Obviously, I wasn't around back then, but apparently he started with a couple hyper casual ones, then quickly made the change to midcore genre with a parking game, and then comes the racing titles and Ultimate Car Driving Simulator, which is actually the first installment of our Ultimate Simulator series, was actually the 17th iteration of those racing titles.
Oh,
So,
crazy.
yeah.
You know, you said it started some time ago and it's like so many iterations. Was that like the original idea you wanted to start with? Like you wanted to make like a car racing game?
The popularity of the midcore genre was better, I would say, compared to now, because right now casual and hyper casual basically dominating the sector. But yeah, I think our founder, is pretty into like cars himself as well. So probably he just wanted to, work on something that he likes in real life as well.
Yeah, I've seen like whilst playing the game, there's so many different like cars that you can recognize flicking through like the
Yeah.
store. There's like Bugatti, Ferrari, a Honda Civic. Like there's so many
Oh,
cars.
we don't call them those.
Yeah, I know,
because
but I know they're not the actual names, but you can see the similarities of what the games like, what the cars look like. Sorry,
I know.
I was gonna ask you, what is the most proudest part of the game, or from the production, or something in the game that you're most proud of in car?
What I find like most superior about our game compared to the market is that I believe it's one of the most like real life feeling open world racing titles out there, based on its size though, because of course you have your Asphalt 9s, Real Racing 3s, but those games take up like 2-3 gigs on the user's device compared to our 200-300 megabytes. So what I'm trying to say is that having a game like this at this size is no easy feat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I can there's so much compact into your game. You would expect it to be like a bigger sized game to download.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff to do. And I like the fact that you use the word it's open world, because it does feel that way when you're playing the game.
Yeah.
It's not just, you do a race and then that's the end of it. You can drive around the small city area much like you do in Need for Speed, which it really
we provide you the freedom, do whatever you like most.
As whilst playing your game, I've seen, there's challenging parts in the game. You don't make it easy for the player to to earn rewards or to get to a certain point. There is a sort of like difficulty into your game and the progression. Like you have the career mode and you have to get through certain parts of the levels and
Yeah.
beat the time trials, beat the parkour. But the parkour is insanely hard at some point. So when you do finally complete it, you're like, what a relief. This is so cool. I finally did it. But I was gonna ask you, talking about difficulty, what's the hardest part about I know you didn't you're not part of like the development team, but what would you say is the hardest part about the game or the hardest part about making the game?
I mean, like I said before, since it was created, first created by just one guy, I would probably guess basically everything at first. But I believe he transferred, some of the mechanics and, along with some of the elements as well from
Hmm.
the previous titles. But in the end, the hardest part is just, combining those two, because they are inherently completely different.
Mm.
So it's like going back and forth, back and forth. You create something, you create a car, and then you do that. You try to implement it in the game, and then you check whether it's working properly, like you want it, whether the code is written correctly, and then uh, almost all the time you see something that was missed. So you
Mm.
go back and forth, back and forth. I believe that's the uh, probably the majority of the production process. Even with yeah, everybody in the sector would know what I'm talking about right now, like
Yeah,
developers and 3D artists
yeah,
taking
everyone will know the struggle.
yeah.
Obviously the racing genre or the racing games genre as a whole is super huge. There's so many racing games out there, and it's very
Yeah.
difficult sometimes to try and tap into that genre and make the best racing game or the best racing style game that you can. Do you have any tips on creating the best racing style game or one of the genres out there? It's
uh Well, like you have said, it's due to its size, it's probably one of the harder genres to nail. You have games like Gran Turismo series, and on the other hand, you have games like Twisted Metal series,
Mhm.
and of course Rocket League. So different strokes for different folks, I believe. But if they are going for mobile, uh, I would say probably, like just nail the fundamentals first,
Mhm.
because you can always experiment with other stuff later on, unless you are, developing a hyper casual game, because let's face it, in the hyper casual world, like gameplay mechanic is everything. So
Mhm.
you want to differentiate yourself as much as possible from the rest of the market.
Yeah, it is quite difficult to try and make sure that you've got the base idea in your head, and how on what type of racing game or racing genre game that you want to
Yeah,
make, because there is so many different options. Like you said, Rocket League. Rocket League
yeah.
is football
You can
basically
mix
with
and match,
cars.
exactly.
Yeah, football with cars. There's Twisted Metal, where it's just smashing cars into each other.
Yeah,
So you don't have to basically go down the one. You think of a car game, and your
yeah,
instant reaction is, "Oh, it's gonna be racing," and that's
yeah. Car can be just an element of the game.
that's like the fundamental base of the game. But then you can make
Yeah.
different types of things within, and that's what your game does. Your game isn't just a racing game. With the variety of monetization that you guys put into your game, because obviously here at Admix we're evolved around monetization. You guys have like your premium pass where you can unlock the nitro, and you can get you can unlock the different sections of the unlockables and upgrades.
Yeah, you can get rid of the
You get
ads,
rid of the ads, yeah.
yeah.
um how early in development did you guys think, oh, we want to add the premium pass, or we want to add the monetization in our game?
I mean, like I said before, since this game, was first developed as an iteration of the previous titles, monetization was considered right from the start, I believe. But of course, the level of it has changed and continue changing, because we tried to find new ways, new things to improve on continuously.
Mhm. Yeah, I think with the premium pass, it's kind of like with mobile games or just games in general now, it's becoming more and more natural and normal to have like a battle pass or a season pass.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
it
subscription pricing models,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It's easy. It's easy to try and like implement that into your games. And basing off that, you guys obviously you use Admix and you use the InPlay ads in your game. What's your experience with InPlay so far whilst you've been using it? I know that's kind of like a biased question for us to
Yeah,
ask you,
it's
but
okay. uh, well, to be honest, so far it's good, because I think if it's implemented properly, you can, get great benefits out of it. I believe, like you mentioned, the dynamics in the sector are changing as well. And I believe one of the major topics uh, of the industry in 2021 and the following years will be in-play ads. It's not something new. We are pretty used to seeing in-play ads, especially in sports titles like football, basketball, Formula One, on other platforms like PC and consoles. What is new is the push for mobile, but people need to understand that this was inevitable when you look at the data, because, for example, like average time people spend on their mobile devices has surpassed the average time spent watching TV 2 years ago in 2019, and the gap widens every year. Like the latest data putting them at, I believe, 3 hours 54 minutes and 3 hours 22 minutes respectively.
Mm.
And this data is only for above 18-year-olds, so you can imagine the gap for younger people. So obviously brands are aware of this, and they are slowly waking up to the immediate power of especially gaming as an advertising channel. I had the chance, you know to work on the other side of the equation, in brand, before making the move to
Mhm.
gaming. uh, and I can tell you this: the level of precision, when it comes to targeting your audience through traditional marketing channels,
Mhm.
uh, is nowhere near mobile. Uh, and like, will the traditional ad types of rewarded interstitial banner be able to fulfill this sudden increase in demand? That's yet to be seen. But the thing is, we don't need to really wait for it, because this is, where the in-play ads come into play. No pun intended. Because so far they seem to have no negative effects on retention levels,
Mhm.
and they definitely have a way more, natural looking integration. On the brand end, like the majority of the ultimate decision making positions
Mhm.
uh, is still occupied by older generations. Uh, but as the newer younger generations will move to those positions, we will see this shift to mobile and gaming, accelerating tremendously. I can probably talk about this R zone end since it falls under my expertise. But
Yeah.
yeah, let me close with this. I believe in 5 years, not only like the majority of the games that incorporates traditional ads uh, will also use in-play ads,
Mhm.
but also some of them will make the move to only using in-play ads for monetization. I think
Wow.
it is a really big field that has a huge potential.
Yeah, I think the way that you put it, and you put it nicely, is saying that it is natural, and we are used to it as time has gone
Yeah,
on with games like you said, like most sports titles like FIFA or Pro Evolution or racing
yeah.
titles. It's
2K and Formula One,
yeah,
yeah.
2K Formula One. It's so easily adapted into the environment, and it's so natural because you see it in real life advertising as well, right? And it with around the
Yeah,
borders
exactly.
and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a no brainer, and it makes super sense for it to be used in that way. And I think for you to, as this is your, this is what you talk about and this is your job. I was gonna say, like, how would you advise other developers that are thinking about monetization and how they would want to use it or adapt it into their game? Because obviously,
Mm.
and with your learnings from, using monetization and in play for Ultimate Car Driving Sim, how would you go about that?
One thing I would advise regarding especially the interstitials is that to not break the flow of the game, because that would return to them as like lower retention levels
Mm-hmm.
and shorter session lengths. You don't have that risk for example in play ads, because yeah, it is not possible to break the game flow.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned from ultimate car driving simulator, or basically any of our titles, is that never underestimate the power of IAPs. So unless you are developing a hyper casual game, always implement a proper game economy as soon as possible.
I've had loads of fun talking to you about your games and your upcoming titles and
Likewise.
Sir Studios, and I'm looking forward to the more work that you guys do, and yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to shout out or anything else you want to say before we close off for today?
Well, yeah, really appreciate your time as well. Thanks for having me on.
Hmm.
And yeah, we hope to, improve on our games, current titles, and try to, publish new ones to our users' liking. And yeah, hopefully we would have the same success with the upcoming ones as well. And we will, repeat this
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, it's been super fun. Hopefully, we can catch up again in the future where we can talk about your next title that's coming out. And yeah, thank you, man. I've had so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, Michael.
Thank you. So there we have it. Another cool Q&A episode from the guys over at Sir Studios. Thank you so much for joining me. It was super fun. If you want to be part of this Q&A series that we are starting on this Admix channel, and you're a developer and want me to ask you a bunch of questions about your game, leave a comment down below or a link to your game, and contact us on our socials or join our Discord, which I will leave downstairs in the description. Or you can also reach us out on our TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or any other place where you can reach us. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you lots in the next video. Sweet.